Um, I am from the Dominican Republic, which is a Caribbean island. We speak Spanish, and this is what most of the people think what Dominican Republic is. Everybody think of the beach and a nice place to go, and it is. But my everyday over there, it was regular as any other place. So for me, this is the Dominican Republic where I live. I actually took this picture leaving from my father's office at 5 p.m. going home, and this is how it looks. It's a 3.5 million metropolitan city, and so a lot of people might be thinking, why do you left, the warm weather to come to work in a cold country? And I think actually it's very good that it's cold. Then I had time to concentrate, and I'm not distracted. But I will speak a little bit about my education and from how my life was over there and what my aspirations were back then. I went to private schools most of my life, or all my life, and I also received a degree in computer science from a private university called the Institute of Technology of Santo Domingo. So I was working already over there successfully for 4 years, and then comes the motivation of curiosity. And in the core, I'm a human, and we humans are curious. Otherwise, we would have not gone to the moon or discovered America. So I have intrinsic curiosity, and I just felt like I want to do something different. I want to discover something, like not just stay doing the same all the time. And for that reason, I decided to overtake this path of relocating somewhere else and trying to see how things are, not just seeing in TV, but I want to have a first-hand experience. And that was my motivation in terms of moving, but my main goal was always to obtain the maximum excellence in what I was doing. So I want to be the best at what I do. That was also another motivator why I decided to come to Estonia. So at the beginning, I didn't know what Estonia was. I actually met one guy one day in a friend's house from Estonia. He was actually in an exchange in Santo Domingo, also working as a programmer. And yeah, my brother introduced me to him, and then I asked back to my brother what country he said he's from. I didn't get it. But that was more than 10 years ago. I think it was 2003 or something like that. And well, today I know what Estonia is. And so I was looking for a place where I can actually sharpen my skills, and I found a placement in the engineering team for Skype in Tallinn. And it was a coincidence. I said, oh, Tallinn, yeah, I remember. I met one guy from there. So I did all the paperwork, and I prepared everything I had to do. I did all the research, all the things I have to do. And then happens that, I went to the application process, and I received an email from somebody and explaining, yeah, you are being accepted, and now you have to get yourself here and apply for the work permit. So we don't have Estonian immigration or general consul in the Dominican. So I had to fly to New York. So the first thing I did, I bought my first winter jacket. And this is a picture of me trying it on to see how it works. The first time I was wearing a down jacket. Before that, I haven't been going to any cold country. And so after this, I took a plane to New York. This is actually shot from the Santo Domingo airport, leaving to my adventure. And then I landed in in New York. I didn't know how long it's going to take. There was no orientation on what I have to do in that sense because, I mean, how many Dominicans are doing that? I think back then there wasn't many. And so I went to the Estonian General Consul in Midtown Manhattan. I deposited my papers. They told me it can take up to 90 days. And I was expecting, well, I hope it doesn't take that long. And I called my uncle in New York and I said, we're going to stay with you for a few weeks. I'm waiting for my work permit to be settled. I mean, I was applying for an internship, which is not the same, like a skilled immigration type of visa. So I was hoping it was also something very fast. But as a matter of fact, it took almost 2 months when I got my clearance to enter the territory. And this is a picture I took when I was actually landing in Estonian Air in the Tallinn airport. That picture was in 2006. There was a heavy winter. So it's a bit different view from the plane where it took off. And now I'm landing in a completely different place. So I was actually very excited. It's like, whoa. I saw the snow for the first time back then when I was 26 years old. It was very exciting for me. And it was so exciting. I was playing all night in the snow, and then I got sick, of course. But, I mean, it was fulfilling my desires. I was discovering a new world. I mean, this is like something that it was fulfilling what I wanted. I was very happy in that moment. So I was then working for Skype in that moment, and it was also very, how can I say, a big learning experience from the point of view that I was working for an international company. I was working in English, not in Spanish. Of course, the things I had to do every day, they were exactly the same. It's just like when I'm in the corridor walking, I was speaking a different language, and the environment was different. So back then, Estonia was not part of the Schengen border-free zone. And as a Dominican, I needed to apply to a visa for most of the country I had to go. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to discover what is inside Estonia. And I was traveling pretty much everywhere inside of Estonia in that whole year. And I really have a very good time everywhere I was going. And it was a very good time of discovering what Estonia is. So I was not just being in the office from home, but I was traveling around. So comes the end of my internship, and I was approached by my manager back then, and he told me, we are very satisfied with the work you've been doing for us. And if you want to continue, we have a permanent position for you. I gladly accepted. And happens that I have to now change my immigration status from being, in this case, for the immigration, I was a student, in the sense like I was doing an internship. But now I had to apply as a skilled worker. So we were doing that process. It took a lot longer than expected. And then I was approached by the lawyer I was working with at that time, and he told me, we have a problem that we're stuck with the paperwork, and for the moment you will need to leave the country, and you will have to go back to the United States or your country for waiting for this paperwork to finish. So I took my plane back and I landed in New York again. Luckily, I didn't stay with my uncle, but now I pinned my cousin who was living in Brooklyn. And I say, hey, can I stay with you for a few weeks? I'm still waiting for some paperwork. And so he was very happy to have me there. And so the problem was that back in that moment, there was no distinction if I was doing manual labor or if I'm architecting software system. There was no skilled immigration category when I was doing this. So it was only one type. You're here for work, or are you here to study, or are you here to settle with your family? And that was about it. I understand that today it might be a bit different, but I'm talking about my personal experience of what I did. So at the end, I waited for almost 4 months, or a bit over 3 months. And then I got clearance to actually come back to assume my responsibility as I was before. I was working from the distance, and then I managed to come back to Tallinn. Things were from here on, a bit more serious. It was not like, it's just 1 year. Now it's like, no, this is a life decision. This is a long-term type of contract that I'm signing with. And basically, I started to establish myself in. I started converting my driver's license to Estonian license. I took my, I only had to take the exams because there is a treaty between the Dominican and Estonia that you can just exchange or something like that. Basically, I just did that, and I was working and living and learning for many years. Then I also got married in 2013. Then I changed, motivation was evolutioning. It's not just I wanted to discover something, but I was actually now, my life has been transformed and it's changing into something different. One thing that was very curious is that after all this work that I did to come to Tallinn and work, I was granted to be working for only for Skype in a very specific position. So all the work was simply to be restricted to one single position. If I become, let's say, a manager, I had to start from scratch. I had to do everything again. I had to do approval from the Estonian government. Yeah, you can come work here even though you are not an European citizen, because we give priority to the Estonians, and then Europeans, and then the third parties. But so basically, everything that I've been doing, all that, it didn't matter at that moment. But after I got married, then I was not tied to my employer. I was actually here because I was studying with my spouse. But I was in that status only for less than a year. Then I took the Estonian exam with a B1 level, and I acquired what is a big ajaline elamislua, or permanent, or semi-permanent, because if I leave for 1.5 years, then I have to do it again. But at least I don't have a plan to go anywhere right now, and I consider that permanent. And I mean, that has been the last 10 years, and maybe you're wondering, what do I like, what I don't like, what is my plan for the future? I think I have said this before, is that one of the things I really like from Estonia is that the public e-services. Everything is very streamlined, how I can do things from banking, buying a house, buying a car. I mean, you literally sign the papers online and the guy brings you the key like next day. It's something like, it's a very good experience. And also the favorable IT environment. There is a lot of people very interested in making IT business here. And so that means that my Italian is in high demand, and for me, I think that's good. And so I find it also attractive to be here. And to have the opportunity to meet and work with really world-class people. Like at my workplace, I had this opportunity like I probably wouldn't have it otherwise. The people I've been working with, actually, many were mentors, and they were teaching me a lot of things that it was kind of like part of my continued education. I mean, you spend 40 hours every day doing something for 10 years, and you definitely learn something about it. And now I'm going to say about things that I don't find too nice about being in Estonia. Is that one of them is it's very hard to travel. If I want to go and visit my relatives, it's a project. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to take the next plane. And for example, my brother, he is an economist in Frankfurt. And if he wants to go to Dominican, he just goes 7 hours and he's there and then he's back. For me, I had to plan because it's probably 24 hours before I actually reach Santo Domingo. And I find that a little bit like it's a long trip. And I really think it twice before I want to go back. Or, I have to plan it. Another thing I don't like is that people is not really used to other ethnic groups, and they think, or maybe they don't say much to me, I don't know, but they look at you, it's something like, I don't know, I mean, it's okay to have people that's different. I mean, this is all about all being human and creating something great together, I guess. At least that's how I see my life. I don't know how everybody else is looking at it. And another thing that I don't find to develop is the service industry. Like, if I want to hire a cleaner, or if I want to hire somebody for, my refrigerator is making noise. If I call to the company that I bought the equipment, they tell me, oh no, we don't do service. You don't have to call the manufacturers. Right? And and then it's not like a one-time situation, but it's over and over. Then I find, okay, come on, I have to work every day. I have a very busy life. I need to find people, services to the level like, and I, for example, I haven't been finding that. Otherwise, I also want to say that there is no perfect place. I mean, wherever you go, there is something to complain about. But I wanted to give a face, of the coin, both faces. I mean, what things I like, what things I don't. And my plan for the future is continue here. I just had a son in January, so he's half Estonian and half Dominican in ethnicity, and I want to raise him, and I want to prosper here as much as I can. And yeah, nüüd ma vahetan siis keel, teist võivad kussida, kui palju on, kui kõrge on minu eesti keele oskus. Ma saan öelda, et on piisavalt, et ma saan iga päev hakkama saama. Siis kui ma ütlesin oma korter, ma tegin kõik paberid ja rääkisin kõik eesti keeles. Aga ma listasin inglise keeles rääkida, sellepärast, et see on minu tookeel. Ja me oleme praegu too andjad konverentsid. Aitäh tähelepanu eest!